I was just doing what I hope you're doing. I was just doing what I hope that you are doing, and that is sharing. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to Leadership Live 2021 with Dr. Renita and friends. I am so excited to be here with you yet again this week. And for those of you all who have no clue who I am or what this is, thank you. Thank you for trusting whatever or whoever told you to watch this, because you must like them a lot. You must think they're amazing. But welcome, Leadership Live. What is it? It's the sharing of journeys. It's the sharing of journeys. And in 2019, I did this completely by myself, right? I shared 52 different stories. 52 different stories. And it was amazing. And apparently people learned things. I learned things about myself that I didn't even remember that I knew. And then 2019 ended and 2020 came, and we had a whole pandemic, panorama, panna cotta, whatever you want to call it. We had that. And then God tapped me on the shoulder again and said, Renita, you need to do Leadership Live. And I said, God, I ain't got nothing left. What? I gave 52 stories. What else do I have? And he said, quit being bougie. I didn't say you had to do this alone. And so he invited me and told me to use friends. And here we are. We are 46 guests past, and we are getting ready to meet guest number 47. For those of you all who are like, I may know her, but I don't know you. Well, welcome once again. I am Dr. Renita. I am an educational leadership strategist, which means I help aspiring and growing leaders become more authentic in their leadership, empower their fellowship, and at the end of the day, make a greater impact on the world. And I do that through coaching, one-on-one, my favorite, also through speaking engagements, books. I do that through group trainings, all the things. And speaking of books, I am a wife and a mother of four. I birthed two and I own two, and that inspired me to write Stepmom, Trials, Tribulations, and Triumphs, editions 1 and 2. And guess what? It's a leadership book. It's a leadership book. It's a book all about leadership. It really is. And I'm also the authoress of While You're Sleeping, the Perfect Children of All Ages book. I am the founder and visionary of The Refining Life, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide you with experiences to have your mindset shifted so that you can lead a more positive and productive life. I am also an educator, veteran educator, having served grades kindergarten through college, as well as a queen and a queen. Those two crowns aren't up there for nothing. I'm a queen and a queen. I'm a queen because I'm a queen. But I am also the current reigning Elite Southern Charms North Carolina Ultimate Grand Supreme, as well as the current reigning Mrs. Black North Carolina, and a plug for the Noir Productions, Miss Black North Carolina, Miss Talented Teen, Ms. Black North Carolina. It's coming up March 6th. So if you want to be the next Ms. Black North Carolina, Miss Black North Carolina, or the Talented Teen of North Carolina, make sure you register, and I can get that information to you. Just hit me up. But I am excited because I have a beautiful and amazing guest joining me this evening. And I know I say they're all amazing, but I've been right for 46 weeks, so you might as well believe me now, right? Right. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in the screen because she's something like amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Traona Kearney! Hey! Hey! Oh, hey! Oh, woo! Okay, that's my excitement. Hey, Trey.
Thank you. Hey, boo. Thank you so much, Miss Renita, Dr. Renita. Thank you so much for inviting me to this show. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be able to share whatever it is. I hope that it blesses somebody, a listening ear, helps encourage and motivate. I'm super excited to be here. I'm originally from Anchorage, Alaska. I relocated to North Carolina in probably about 2000. And I am a current salon owner. I went through many different, I would say, avenues to get to where I'm at right now. I first started out in the dental industry. I went to North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride, all day, every day. I majored in biology, thinking that I would be going to dental school. And I'll just say God didn't see it that way for me. So after working in the dental office for several years, God spoke to me, and I ended up full-time at a salon. I've been in the beauty industry now for 10 plus years, a salon owner for approaching 2 in June or July of next year. And I love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love the knowledge that I'm able to share. talking to people, meeting new people, encouraging new people, acting as a liaison between the clients, helping people and friends like Dr. Renita on the screen, and helping to whomever it is that is tuning in this evening. I hope that I can help somebody. I hope that whatever the words that we have to share tonight does not fall upon deaf ears, that you all are able to take this information for what it is. Some encouragement for leadership. So we're here to talk about leadership, and I am excited to go from here.
Let me tell you. Okay. So, Trey Bay, because that's
Trey
her.
Bay.
I just
Yes,
like
it
to
is.
say
That's
it.
my Instagram name. That's my salon name. That's my nickname. And I'm not even sure how that came about, but
But it works. It
Trey
flows off
Bay.
the tongue so
Trey Bay.
nicely. Trey. But Traona is such a beautiful woman inside and out, as you all can see. I love that you started as a biology major thinking that you were going to be a who?
I thought I was going to be a dentist. I was ready. I was honestly, I was ready to get that guap. I was like, oh yeah, put me in somebody's mouth, messing with teeth. I thought that's what I was going to. I thought,
What
but I
made
had
you
different
want to be a
plans.
dentist? What made you want to
You
be a
know,
dentist?
honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I remember growing up just always like I couldn't wait. As soon as one of my teeth was loose, one of my teeth were loose, or if anybody around me had a loose tooth, I would be like, me, I'll pull it. Go get me the floss. Go get me, any tools that I needed to try to help them extract the tooth. That was my calling. I felt like at that point, I remember writing books. I remember, reading books, coloring, and everything was surrounding about me being a dentist. Now, I will say, growing up, and again, I was in Anchorage, Alaska. There was a lot of hairstylists there, but I remember growing up and thinking that I always loved to do hair. My sister, she's 16 years older than me, and she did hair growing up. So I would always love watching her do hair, and I just kind of picked it up, just watching her and kind of mimicking behind her. But while I love doing hair at the moment, I remember thinking that hairstylists had such a poor reputation. You know, I remember
Mm,
thinking that they just did not have the popularity, I guess. And not that you doing hair is popular now. I think right now it's a very trendy situation because of the newly natural community.
mm-hmm.
But at that moment, they didn't get a lot of respect. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like a reputable profession. So while I enjoyed doing hair, even at that moment, I love teeth. I love pulling teeth. I loved beautiful smiles. I love looking at people's smiles, much like your beautiful smile, Dr. Renita. So I've always been a fan of teeth growing up, but I just equally I loved hair. But because of the reputation and it just not ever coming off as a reputable profession, it was something that I always put on the back burner. And when people would say, because I remember people asking me this as a child, do you want to be a hairstylist when you grow up? And I would say, a hairstylist, that's not cool. I'm trying to make some money. I want to be a
Why,
dentist,
why they
right?
do that?
Why they do that? And nobody's trying to be no hairstylist. But at the time, that's truly how I felt. So I remember moving forward, I was always on this dental route. So, going to college, and I was pretty good at math and science. So, went to A&T, majored in biology, going on the dental track, but not really even fully running this race the way that I should have. I wasn't very knowledgeable about how to go about getting in dental school. And as a result, I didn't do as well as I wanted on the standardized test to get into dental school. But in hindsight, when I look at it, it was a blessing in disguise. That was not the direction that God had for me. And so unknowingly, I was going in the direction that was this direction, right? But maneuvering in a specific way that was away from dental, but toward the ultimate career path, which I'm in right now.
Wow. So you just said so many things. And so I warn all my guests before they come on that I'm going to be feverishly taking notes because I know they all the amazing is coming. But so many things you touched on there. One thing I want to uplift because a few guests ago, I had Dr. Shaban Grady on with me, and she is a STEM person. She
Mm,
has her own statue, which is amazing. How many people do you know with their own statue? I know
she
one.
is.
Her name is Dr. Shaban D. Grady. Uh,
And you know what, Renita? Dr. Shaban used to be a client of mine.
did
Okay?
she?
Yes, Auntie.
Well, look
Yes,
there.
she would sit in my
Look,
chair. Yes.
I
She was a
know she is
client.
your soror, and I love her anyway.
Yes, she is.
But I have actually known her since she was in high school.
Okay.
She is quite fabulous, and it's amazing to see how she's grown. But one of
She
the
is.
things, I mean, her big thing is STEM. She is a STEM person. But I find
Mm-hmm.
it unique that when you talk about the beginning of your journey, you also talk about STEM. You talk about
Mm-hmm.
maths and sciences, and you were contemplating becoming a dentist, which I don't think that enough people really think about how, medical careers really are STEM careers, because a lot of people just think technology, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the science, technology, the engineering, the mathematics. So to be a Black female leader in such a realm, to shift to being a hairstylist, which is also a STEM career.
Oh, thank you for recognizing that because so many people don't. I get people all the time that will come and they'll say, you majored in biology. Well, what are you putting it to use? Are you actually putting your degree to use? And I'm like, absolutely. Biology is the study of living things. Is your body not a living thing? Does your hair not grow from a living scalp? You know what I mean? We have to understand the mechanisms and the chemistry and the biology behind the body. And to be honest, I do think that one of the things that has propelled me in this career is the general understanding with chemistry and biology with the hair, able to understand it, able to communicate it, able to educate the clients. That's what provides healthy hair, is the education portion. So I take the knowledge that was taught to me in STEM and put it in my current profession, and being able to educate ultimately and help them acquire exactly what it is that they want, which is a healthy head of hair, but comes from a healthy body, which something that's living. That's all biology. All goes towards STEM.
Absolutely. Biology, chemistry, I mean, physics. I mean, some of these hairstyles that I see on different type of people, if that's not a physicist, I don't know who is, because my goodness. But you are a leader in your industry. You own your own salon. You are really shifting and changing lives. And let me put it this way: even for other hairstylists who aren't salon owners, I need you to own that you are leaders, because every day you are educating people. Every day you are encouraging people and leading them in a way that they should go with their hair and even in their life. Because I know that when I sit down with my stylist, I have a couple, and they're in multiple cities. They know if one is not available, I'm going to the other, and I report on what the other one did so everybody can be happy and harmonious. But you're a counselor. You do all the things. And in all of that, you are also just leading life, right? You're leading life. So, when you think about all of the different things that you're doing, the different things you've had to do since we got into this panorama, or pandemic. I think I lost my guest for a second. I'm sure she'll be back in a minute. But I think that, a lot of us need to refocus on what we are doing, and accepting all the multifacets of our career. And we're back with Traona.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Sorry about that.
no worries. It's okay. So when you think about all the different things that you do and the different ways you lead and the different things that you've had to do in the pandemic, what has been the most impactful for you in this time?
So, what has been the most impactful for me during the time of the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
The most impactful. That's a good question. I would say I don't know if I can pinpoint that to one specific moment in time being the most impactful. I think that I think that having the circle of people that were around me that were other leaders has been the most impactful. I was blessed and lucky enough to have been a team member of a group of people in the salon, and three of whom were all salon owners. So I wasn't coming to this completely blind. The salon that I worked at prior to Shine Beauty Studio being my salon was Mastermind's Design Studio. So I purchased that salon from the previous owner. Now, when I purchased that, I didn't know that this would be, I didn't know that I would be here when I first started working there, excuse me. But unbeknownst to me, there's somebody there, two people there who are licensed educators, licensed cosmetology educators, both of whom were salon owners. and then someone else who was a salon owner. So I had three people, three veteran hairstylists that I worked with that were all in that position. So coming into this, while I felt like I was coming into it blind, I definitely felt like I had the best leaders in the game to try to help encourage me, help give me the tools that I needed to make this a success in my life. So out of anything, I would say that when I decided to make that purchase of that salon, I felt like, okay, I was scared, I was terrified, but I knew that even though I was making this move by myself, I didn't have to do it alone because I had those people in the salon, in my circle, in my ear. I was able to ask them questions, and people who specifically sat down to me and they looked at me in my eye and they said, "You do not have to do this alone. I am going to be with you every step of the way. You come to me, you ask me questions. If you need advice, call me, text me, just let me know." One thing about it is a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So in order for me to receive the information that I needed to propel my career forward of the salon, I had to be willing to reach outside, to drop, any pride if I may have had that, and ask them questions and say, "Look, I'm afraid. I'm scared. I'm concerned about what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. Can you help me, please?" So I was really blessed. And I think that that was the most impactful, is having those people around.
Well, okay. So what I want to lift up from what you just said is one, the idea of speaking up. I think so many of us end up in pits because we don't speak up, especially when other people recognize our leadership. That sometimes or somehow we've gotten this notion that if we're leaders, we shouldn't need help.
Mm-hmm.
I want to break that for every single person watching right now. Just because you need help doesn't make you not a leader. It doesn't mean that you're not a leader. And just because you're a leader doesn't mean you won't ever need help. As a matter of fact, the greatest leaders get help. I mean, personally, one of the greatest leaders in my life would be Jesus, and he had 12 disciples. You need help.
You need help. And you know what? Honestly, when you say that, I think about my pastor, Pastor Edward Kirkpatrick. One of the things that he always says is, in order to lead, you must first follow. So you have to
Hmm.
be able to follow leadership in order to be a leader.
Absolutely. But then you talk about these wonderful shop owners that you were working with who told
Mm-hmm.
you that you did not have to do it alone. And so I think about, I'm very village minded. And I think about you already kind of being a part of this village, these people who chose to be your village. Because village to
Mm-hmm.
me are people who are choosing to be connected to you, choosing to propel you, choosing to support you. Those are village people. And so, me being the village minded person that I am, I see that, but I also seek that. So, I'm thinking about, the fact being that you opened a salon in the middle of a pandemic and you had to have people with you. So, not only were you village, you were villaging at the same time, but then you were gathering these people, you were gathering your village. How in the world did it go, really leading kind of this gathering of people in the pandemic?
It was really, really tough. I will say, I would say one of the things that I love about myself, but can kind of be difficult, is I care a lot about what other people, what their experience is like. You know what I mean? These are the people that are technically are in my employees in a sense, right? Or they're in the salon that I'm owning. So it is up to me to be that leader. So be able to make the right decision, and especially in an atmosphere or in a climate that a lot of people are afraid of. So I had to be the one, walking around the salon saying, "Hey, pull your mask up." I had to be that person where people might have looked, with a side eye, or who she thinks she is, or "Hey, get away from me, I don't want to pull my mask up." Or the person that said, "Look, if you don't want to wear your mask, you have to go." And it's not just for your protection, it's for everybody else's protection in here, and their safety and their comfortability. We had a crazy influx of clients come to our salon after the pandemic. When they came back, it was like our clientele revved up so crazy. And one of the things I would ask them is, what led you to the salon? And one of the first things they said was, somebody told me what your guys' protocol was here. So we felt comfortable coming here. Or, I was going to this place and they weren't wearing their masks appropriately and I didn't feel comfortable. Or, people who would bring their parents there saying, I know they go to a salon, but they're not wearing their mask properly. So I wanted them to go to a place that I knew that they would feel comfortable, they would feel safe, and they wouldn't have a problem because of the way you all were being leaders in this industry during this moment in life or in this climate. And so I would say that was a tough situation, having to have the proper things. But I will say again, right before we closed down, the previous owner, her name is Sherelle. Sherelle was awesome in helping me because she was like a pioneer, of course, in helping clean. She was very clean, always pushing me. And one of the things I used to always laugh about is when she was the owner, she would always push me and she would say things and she would do things. And it used to get under my skin. It would make me so mad. I'd be like, why she keep pushing me? Like, why is she, you know, continuing to tell me these things? And I just felt like she was constantly like on my tail about things that I'm doing. But I can say right now, I couldn't be more thankful for the responsibility that she made me have at that moment, because had it not been for her, I would not be where I'm at today. I would not be able to have the tools to say, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to clean. This is how, these are the protocols that we need to put in place in order to have the safest possible environment for ourselves and for the clients that enter into the salon. So I think that being able to lead, again, it goes back to the fact that I had the village. I had the leaders that were there helping me lead. It wasn't necessarily me doing this alone. I was able to, get a little feedback and say, hey, how am I doing? Do you think that what I'm doing here is right? Do you think I'm making the right decision? And they would give me that positive affirmation and say, you got it, Trey. You're doing just fine. Or come back to them and say, when we thought for a second that COVID was beginning to get, we were getting some relief. Hey, do you guys think it's right to take the masks off? And I was very leery about that. And I would, go to some of the people. How do you feel? I would ask the clients, how do you all feel? And people gave me their input. But ultimately, I had to make that final say. I had to make that final decision. So having to make this decision, not just for one, but for many, that was the tough part. So again, it takes a village to help, because I don't know that I could have made that decision by myself. The ultimate decision had to be placed on me. But a lot of information coming from the previous owner and some of the other stylists that I work with, that really helped me make those decisions.
That is awesome. So I love the idea that your gathering of people, this gathering that you lead, that they are empowered to have a voice. I think about so many situations and so many groups and organizations that end up faltering, that end up with frustrated people. People are big mad, like big mad, because they have thoughts. They feel like they were bought there for a reason, and then they
Mm-hmm.
get there and their voices aren't heard. Um, I can only imagine how frustrating it would be to, well, as a matter of fact, I know how frustrating it is. I work for
Mm-hmm.
people who have a
I was
voice.
going to say, I think
Let's go back to the
we've all been a
reality.
part,
Know what
right?
that is. But you've learned the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You've learned the lesson. And so when we think about, your gathering in your own spot, are these people that all people that you used to work with? Did you have to find new people? Like, how did that work?
So basically, when I'll say inherited, while I purchased it from the previous owner, I inherited basically a practically full salon.
Can I tell
And
you, Paul, that makes me think of the movie Beauty Shop. Have you ever seen that?
yes,
And the people that she inherited, how are your people? Because she inherited some
honestly,
unique folks.
honestly, I'm so grateful. Honestly, I am so thankful. I'm like, Lord, thank you for blessing me with this group of people. They could not have any better. They could not have been any better. And honestly, the beauty industry has a crazy high turnover rate at salons like this. You know what I mean? And at this moment in time, I think that traditional salons are they're changing, right? Right now we're in a different atmosphere. A lot of people are getting suites, they're working by themselves. So this
Right. And I've
style of
seen that.
salon is kind of changing, right? So the fact that we've been able to be together, I'll say 4 of us in that salon have worked together for 10 years. 10
Wow.
years at the least. Okay. So that's 4 of us. Now we've had some additions that have been on, some people, some other people that have come. But when I inherited the salon, we had a staff of 6 people. And let's see, yeah, 6. So shortly after that time, one of the staff called me and said, hey Trey, I'm leaving. And when he said he was leaving, I was like, where are you going? You going out of town? When you gonna be back? You know what I mean? I'm like, you're not leaving the salon, right? This is in my head. I'm thinking I'm driving, and he like, yeah, I just want to let you know that I'm leaving. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll see you when you get back. But then he broke it down to me, and he said, no, I'm gonna go work with somebody else. And I was just like, and honestly, I couldn't even, that was a sad day for me. Honestly, that was like my first day, because again, you think I'm purchasing the salon directly after a pandemic. We left, we were put out of work in March. We were out, excuse me, the end of March. So we were out April and May, and I returned back to work June 1st. So in June 1st, I learned that there was the opportunity to purchase it, and I was owning it July 1. So that's how quickly the turnaround came. So
Whoa,
you
whoa,
think
whoa, whoa, whoa.
it was quick.
Stick a pin right there. You own a salon in a month?
In a month. in a month
How,
after returning back to work.
how did you do that? Oh my gosh.
That's supernatural. That's God right there. And you know what, Renita, if I can even go back, honestly, this is the point of the matter. One thing that I truly believe is that you have to follow God's directions. You have to pray. You have to know that you hear it. You got to know that you know, right? And so one of the things that I had prayed for over this pandemic, we were at a work, like I said, we were told, I think mid-March or something, that we were going to be out by the end of March. And so I was like at home, like, what am I going to do? Right. I was used to waking up Monday through Friday, getting up, going to work. So I would literally wake up and be like, what am I going to do today? Right. I would roll over. I would lay in bed for a while. I did learn some yoga. Now I was in here doing some, namaste in the morning. I would wake up bright and early. I would do that. I got real flexible in about a month. So that was
Well,
awesome.
girl, in that
A
case, I'm gonna
positive
be doing
thing.
yoga. I'm starting
Do a little
tonight.
namaste. It was awesome. But during that time, one of the things that I just said is after I kind of got out of this rut, like, I don't know how long this is going to go on, right? So I would just lay in bed. At first, it was almost like part of me felt like I should be sad, but I'm a believer. And I knew that God would not have put me in a position where I would not be able to succeed. So even though I felt like in theory, I should have been sad because I was out of work, I was making no income, I had a slew of people that were clients and friends and people that were like, hey, this is my regular 2-week appointment. Don't cancel my appointment. You get that money. I'm going to give you the money for me. Even though you're not doing my hair, I've budgeted this. So even though if I see you every week, you take that money every week until we go back because that's your money. I've been blessed. I'm blessed with still having a job. And even though you're not, even though you're not doing my hair, I want you to have this, right? So I was blessed to have a lot of clients and I'm so thankful for them for having supported me during that time. So I couldn't be sad. I couldn't be, devastated or I couldn't be depressed. All I knew was that there was a purpose for this. There was a season for this time and I was supposed to do something. So I prayed. I asked God, what was I supposed to be doing in this time? And there were some things that now let me tell you, one thing about me is I shop. Okay. I get it in. Okay. I shop before I go to bed. I shop when I wake up. All right. But I try to be really financially savvy still. So I try to make sure that my duckies are in a row. My finances are separated between my personal, between my business, but they weren't exactly separated the way I needed them to be. They weren't in line how I wanted them to be. So during this time, I just prayed and said, okay, God, what should I do during this time? I'm out of work. Let me be productive as possible. I'm not in the salon, but I can still be working essentially. Right. So I took the time, I got everything in order. And so when we came back to work June 1st, and the option was presented to me like, hey, I need to sell the salon. Do you want to buy it? And at first I was like, huh? Buy it when? You know what I'm saying? When, like, what are you talking about? When do you want me to buy it? Like, I guess I could consider it. But then I started to think about it and I talked to my mom and I'm like, but mom, we just got back to work. We don't even know how COVID is going to do. Are we going to be back out of work? Am I going to have to struggle with this, with a lease or with this payment and not have the income to sustain what I need? I'm not getting money. Right. And so, but then I thought about it and I said, God, well, you had me do this for a reason. You had me get my finances exactly in a way that they should be to make this purchase. So this is the direction that you're taking me. So I'm gonna continue to listen to you. I'm gonna follow. Right. So I went ahead. Like I said, June 1. I don't even know if it was as soon as we got back. It honestly might have been like a week or two in because the turnaround time was extremely quick. It was like, hey, you want to buy it? And I was like, okay, sure. The next day it was like, well, that means buy it by July 1st. I'm like, July 1st? Come again? Like 2 weeks away, 2 or 3 weeks away. And it was like, yeah. And so I talked to one of my girlfriends, and she's an entrepreneur, and she is like a serial entrepreneur, right? She's awesome with that. And she was like, girl, do it. What are you waiting on? I was like, I know, right? I called her up. I said, I'll
Yeah,
have a
I
check for
know,
you
right?
tomorrow. I know,
Thank you.
right?
Thank you for saying that. I know, right? Why
Thank
didn't I do
you,
it?
right? Thank you. Why didn't I do that, right? So I had my check the next day, and I was like, here you go. Done deal, right? But that was a month later. So you think, and at the moment I was confident because I had a full salon, so I knew that I would constantly have that income in a sense.
Yeah.
A few months later, this, like I was telling you, the stylist called and said, hey, I'm leaving, and I'm thinking, okay, well, where are you leaving? Have fun. I'll see you when you get back.
Right.
But then he clarified and said, I'm not going to be at the salon anymore. And so that was a really heavy hit for me. And that was tough. I was sad. I didn't really, I didn't express it at the time. And it sometimes still sits with me. But I just had to kind of move forward, right? Shortly after
But
that. And
now knowing that backstory, I can understand why it was even bigger of a blow.
it was even bigger of a blow. And the person who left was one of the people who was a previous salon owner. And so at the time we had 3 people. 2 of those people were in the salon, but they were in there part-time. So they weren't in there enough. I won't say enough, but they weren't in there as often as he was to be able to give me the type of advice that I was seeking. You know what I mean?
So he
Before,
was also a confidant.
exactly, at that moment, he was going to be my confidant, right? And he didn't know this because I didn't share this with him. But that was the person like, okay, we're together. Now he's kind of like this veteran in the salon, right? I can come to him. But as soon as he left, it put me in the position. Now I am the leader in the salon, right? Because the other people, they're not here. They're not here with me normally. You know, I'm there Monday through Friday mainly. So a lot of their hours are on weekends, and I don't go in the salon on weekends. So with him being gone, it was like, wow, now who am I going to talk to, right? Who am I going to have to confide in? Who am I going to be able to lean on during the times that I'm here? And it put me in a position that I almost felt uncomfortable with, but I knew I had to continue to propel. So, I just prayed for the strength, and I went on. And a few months later, I lost another stylist, right? And I'm just like, say it ain't so, right? So now somebody else is down. So now I'm down to just, me, Letitia, one of my girls that's in there, and then the other 2 stylists. And so I'm like, now we have 3 vacant chairs. How am I going to fill it? So now I went from, and then the people that were in there, they were all, we've been doing hair, like I said, 10 years together at the time. So now I'm having to find new stylists, not just new stylists, not even new stylists that had some experience. I'm having to find like new stylists. So
Like
I didn't know what
you.
that meant. New, right? So now I'm looking for these new stylists, and I'm thinking, okay, bet, thought I found a couple people, didn't work out. Thought I found another one. I was real hype, didn't work out. And I'm thinking, dang, what is wrong? And one of the ladies, she said, Trey, don't stress it. You'll know. You'll know when it's the person. You're trying to rush it because you're concerned. You feel like you need to fill these chairs, but take your time. God's going to give
Mm-hmm.
you what you need. And so I did. I took my time. I spoke to some people, and they helped me with being able to hire the clients that I need, excuse me, the stylists that I needed. And I got some very awesome people on board now. So all of the chairs are full in the salon right now. But one thing that I did not consider was that they have to be taught, right? So I'm full time. I come in Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 6:00 a.m. I leave Monday and Tuesday at pretty late. So I'm like, I'm always busy. When do I even have to teach these people? And that even goes to the whole time that I'm very strict about my personal time and my work time. So if all of my work time is spent with my clients, what time do I have to spend with my new stylist? Right. So I
Wow.
was struggling with that. Right. It's working out so far. I mean, I love the new stylists. They're awesome. They are quick learning. I love them. So I'm very excited for what is to come for them. I'm excited to be able to pour into them the way that I was poured into as a young stylist. I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to the moment where they can be leaders in their own respect.
I love that you are a leader leading leaders, a leader leading new leaders to leadership because you are a person who experienced that. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful when we don't get selfish with our gifts. I think that sometimes as leaders, we start hoarding. We hoard power. We hoard gifts because we are afraid that we won't have them anymore because that's what we put our full stock in. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you're saying that, look, I love my young stylists. I love my young leaders in my salon because I'm building them.
Mm-hmm.
You're leading the gathering. You are leading the gathering. But you brought up something about that stylist leaving that I wanted to go back and touch on because you
Okay.
talked about being a person of faith. And I think about that previous stylist that you were kind of banking on to be your confidant, to be the other leader in the room. We've got this, like literally. And then he was snatched away from you. I mean, his own fruition, but he was gone. So this is now your safety
Mm-hmm.
net that was gone.
Yeah.
How does it feel to fly for the first time on your own?
Um, it was different. I will say that while he was gone, I did still have some of the other veteran stylists that were there, but their frequency was a lot lower. They were usually, by the time they were coming in, I was literally like, they were walking in the door and I was walking out the door. So it wasn't often. They were still just a phone call away. I will say that. However, when that safety net was gone, it was tough, right? Because I didn't one thing that I didn't realize was that just because somebody wasn't, how do I say this? One of the other stylists in the salon, her name is Letitia, right? She's just a couple years younger than I am, but we've been doing hair about the same amount of time. And in my head, I was always looking to him because he was older. He had been in the game for years more than I had. He had owned a salon, right? But one thing that I overlooked was the fact that he wasn't my only safety net. Letitia was also that safety
Mm,
net, and she doesn't even know it, right? So while I thought that I had it on my own, she might say things, or she would say, Trey, I got it, you know? And she would say that and would almost warm my heart, because in my head I was thinking, well, I felt like I couldn't rely on her, maybe because she was younger, or at the time I felt like we were equals in this game. Even though I was the owner of the salon, I felt like, as far as our veteran status, or our the time that we had invested, that we were the same in status. And so I would
right.
think, I can't really rely on her. But the truth was is that I could rely on her. And so one thing that she taught me was, it's not all about how many years you have in the game. It's about what you can offer. And I knew that she was there for me in ways that she probably didn't even know. And supporting and just communicating with me, or being that person that's there with me most often when I'm there by myself. And so
Mhm.
that was one of the things that I was happy for, because even though he was my safety net, she was the safety to the safety, and didn't
Come
even
on,
know that.
safety to safety.
Yeah.
Come on, safety to safety. And I love that you lift up something that I think that in leadership is a thing, as quiet as it's kept, but it's a thing that young people can't be
Mm-hmm.
leaders. Less experienced people can't be leaders. And I think that that's something that causes a lot of us younger leaders, even though I'm not as young as I used to be, but I'm definitely not that old either. I realize I'm something. But that it gives us imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Find ourselves in these places and spaces that we feel like we have to lean on somebody of advanced age, when the
Mm-hmm.
reality is we've been gifted with what we've been gifted with. And if we would just
Exactly.
trust what's inside of us, maybe we could shine a little bit brighter
Mm-hmm.
and get a little
Exactly.
bit farther. That's crazy. But I love that you learned to lean on her.
I did. I
Even
did. And honestly, even more so, lean on God in that moment, you
yeah,
know, and lean on God to say, look, God, you put me in this position, and you're not going to leave me out here. I know it might seem tough. It might seem like I'm out here alone, or I don't have that person that I can lean on, but I know if I can't lean on anybody else, I can lean on him. And so
yeah.
I was just really grateful for my spiritual community. You know what I mean? The people of faith, my clients that would encourage me, the older women in my chair, the younger women in my chair, anybody who was encouraging me through that moment. I mean, they all were the people that helped push me, helped propel me, and helped me feel confident in the journey that I've taken.
Well, I want to shift gears here a little bit, and it still has to do with your gathering. But for me, this is your gathering of clients that you lead.
Okay.
What made you name your salon Shine?
Um, So, you know what? Funny enough, I went through a couple different names, and I even registered a couple different names. My mom, she's so funny, right? Because one of the things, my mom, she was younger, and both my parents are business owners, and so my mom had this business years ago called Paperworks, and so, and one of the things she would always say when she comes is, she's like, Traona, Bun, give me the works. Give me the works. And so she would say, you should just call it the works. And I was like, I'm not calling it no works. I was talking trash. Then I started thinking about it. And I'm like, it would be kind of cool. I could kind of pay homage to, to her business, Paperworks, and call it the Works, and kind of type of thing. Like, if you know, you know, right? But
Right.
the thing that threw me off, girlfriend, is somebody called and said, or I was talking to one of the clients, and they were like, "Well, what are you gonna name it?" I said, the Works with the X. I wanted to be fancy. It was gonna be the Works with the X, and they said, and they were like, "Oh yeah, beauty does work, huh?" It was called Beauty Works, is what it was, Beauty Works. And they said, "Oh yeah, beauty does work, huh?" And I was like, that's not the vibe
That's
I'm
not
giving
what
off.
we're going
That's not it, girl. When I tell you, I went downtown immediately and was like, change it, change it. So it sat with me. It sat with me for a while. I couldn't figure it out. And one thing about me is, I'm definitely a talker. I'm not much of the writer. So, like, figuring out all these really trendy sayings, funny puns, that's not me. It takes me forever to come up with stuff like that. Forever for one liners. Like, Instagram posts is so hard for me. It's so hard for me to get that. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is the name of the salon gonna be? What is it gonna be? Kept thinking about it, kept thinking about it, kept thinking about it. And then I started thinking about, how do we make people feel, right? And it's like, we make people feel like when they come in and the relationship that we have with the clients, each of us in the salon, they come in, they sit in our chair, we're their therapist, right? In a sense, they talk to us, they divulge their information, they come to us for assistance, for help, for advice. They come to us to help them feel anew, and not just on the outer, but on the inner. And so when I started to think about that respect, I started to think of, well, really, we're helping them to shine. And the shine is not just an outward appearance, that's an inner appearance as well.
Right. Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. What is your favorite thing about leading your clients to shining?
Honestly, I just love the transition. I love that we are constantly changing people. Change is inevitable. And I just love being able to see the change in the clients and the good news and the positivity and the smiles. And I enjoy being able to say, look, I had, by no means am I making you beautiful. I'm just here to enhance. I'll say all the time, I don't create the beauty you possess. I just enhance what is naturally yours. And so for
Mm,
me, being able to pull out a shine that was deep within that they may not have even known about, I'll be like, girl, get up and shine. You know what I mean? Do what you already do naturally. It's in you. You have to be the one to pull it out. And if I'm going to be here, if you're coming to my chair, in a sense, I feel like you're here for me to help pull it out of you, because you're unable to pull it out for yourself. You're unable to identify what is it that's within you that helps you shine. Whether it be, people might come to me and say, well, ask me for business ideas, or ask me for some advice for their business, or ask me, for, I love this, right? Fashion advice, for food advice. That's my first favorite, to be honest, is anything about food. But anything that I'm able to assist them with, they're in my chair for a reason, right? And whatever that is, I enjoy being able to find that specific niche or that specific thing that they're in my chair for me to help bring out, and finding that moment and doing it. That's what I enjoy.
that is amazing. Well, there's a specific, before we go, I want to make sure I bring this up. So there's a specific group of your gathering that you brought up earlier that I think is something that we need to highlight, pay homage to, namely because of just what it's called. And I'll go to the rest of it in a minute, but it's the naturals. It's the naturals. And so you some people who are newly natural. Some people became natural over the pandemic and actually didn't intend to,
They
but
did not intend to.
they did not intend to. But them chemicals were not yet available, and so they ended up going natural without even trying to.
By
But
default. Yeah, that was a
by
default
default,
situation.
and they still are buying new combs every week because they hadn't figured that out yet. But the idea of being a natural right now is very trendy. But the reality is, to me, when I think about natural, is being the way that you were made to be.
Hmm.
Being the way the manufacturer, like going back to manufacturer's reset, like the settings that you were then before you
Hmm.
decide to do some new things now, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
don't get me wrong, I done had a relaxer. I had a relaxer for probably the majority of my life, even though now it's kind of changing because I haven't had a relaxer since 2009. But like I was on the cream and crack, as I like to call it, very strongly. But it's something about this journey of becoming natural, as if something else is unnatural, right?
Hmm.
So as you're leading this group of women specifically, and possibly men, because you do male hair too, don't you?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so most of your men are natural.
Yes,
Uh,
most of them. Hmm.
most of them are naturals. I won't say all, but you're dealing with this group of people who are really trying to figure out how to deal with who they are. How do you approach that mentality? Some people are loud and proud naturals, like, honey, I got this. This is me, boo. And then you got the,
Hmm.
I'm really timid about being myself. How do you lead them?
That's funny that you say that, because I think that, unlike many people, so I love natural hair. I've practically been natural before it was a trend, right? Before it was the it thing. I was natural. I was the bomb. Okay, I used to hot comb my hair straight off the stove while I was watching cartoons. I didn't even have a mirror. Okay, I was
Come
awesome.
on, you were
For
good. You
real.
were good.
I was good. Okay, that's how long I've been natural. But one of the things and I remember when natural first became a thing, right? Because it was so confusing to me because I'm like, well, I always been natural. Like this is a real trend, right? It was a huge thing when it was like natural. You're going natural. You're transitioning to natural, right? But I remember this lady in this store. We were talking about some products, and she went on to say, well, natural is how your hair grows out of your scalp. So in her respect, she felt like you weren't even natural if you had done something like to your hair right now, right? If you're doing anything to manipulate that pattern, then you're not natural. She says, however it grows out of your scalp, that's what it is. That's your natural texture, meaning no color, no flat ironing. I mean, enhancing the curl, I guess that would be still natural to her. But it prompted me to think about this, right? People were so busy to being on the trendy side of natural that they were not discovering who they truly were, right? So there's this
Mm.
respect, there's these two lanes. There's the lane of being natural in a sense of your natural hair, and then there's the lane of being natural to who you are, right? And it's not the same thing, because I have clients that come in and they are natural, but they are miserable. They come in the chair and they're like, I'm natural and I don't know what to do with it. And this is always my first question. How do you like your natural hair? I mean, it's cool, it's okay, Okay. How do you like to wear your hair? Well, I like to wear it straight, but somebody told me that chemicals or relaxers were bad for my hair, and I just don't know, but I hate it curly. I always wear it in a ponytail. Well, if ideally, if it were up to you, how would you like to wear your hair? And many people say, I would want to wear it straight. And so I look at them and I say, it's okay. You can still be natural and you can still wear your hair straight. If you feel like the natural journey or being natural is the only thing that makes you natural, you have to get that out of your mind, because that's not the thing. Whoever you feel naturally is best for you. So if you feel best and you feel most like yourself with your hair being straight, then straighten it out. You can have healthy natural hair and it still be straight. You can have healthy hair and still have it be textured. You can have healthy hair and still have it be short. And to be frank, you can still have healthy hair and have it be relaxed. So here's the thing: they have to get out of being. I think we're in this situation, and I think we've begun to kind of grow out of it since we've been in the pandemic. But it was like natural shaming. If people weren't wanting to be natural, they were
Yeah.
shamed of wanting to be natural or wanting to wear their hair straight. They almost felt like they weren't on the train unless they had to rock. I'm rocking stuff with my Afro puff, and that's not everybody's story. You know what I mean? Some
Right.
people want that straight hair and they prefer the straight hair. They know how to manage the straight hair. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
be natural because you want a little bit more body, then go that route. But don't feel like because you're natural, you have to be stuck in a way that you're not even happy looking at yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got a member of the Healthy Relaxed Hair Gang here today. And she has an absolutely beautiful head of hair. But I love the idea that you are natural in the way that you feel natural.
In the way that
For
you
some
feel
people,
natural.
right? For some people, breaking combs every other day is just
That's not
not
for
a natural
them.
experience.
It's not.
That's
And
not.
honestly,
And
and above
you know,
all, I practice healthy hair. And quite frank, some people, if we have to be realistic about this, right? One thing my mom used to always say is, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten.
God,
And
that's
so I
right.
look at these people that are natural and they have no intentions on coming to the salon, right? So we have to be realistic. So when people come to me, I say, do you want to be natural? Well, yes. Do you intend on coming to the salon? I mean, you can be honest with me. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to judge you, but we have to be realistic in order to set the proper expectation and to set a proper plan for you, basically. If you intend on
Yes.
doing this yourself with your hair, I'm going to tell you right now, the what you're on right now is not going to do well because your hair is brittle. It's very kinky. It's going to be more prone to breakage. You can't do this at home by yourself. Otherwise, you won't have any hair, right? So maybe
Mhm.
let's think about a different option for you, something that you can maintain at home.
Right.
So we
Come
have to
on,
be
you better
considerate.
give people a prescription. This is where your scientist doctoral background is coming in. You are prescribing a health plan for
It's
people's
a health
hair. And
plan. It is.
but it's true. Okay, so as leaders, as we're leading our own lives and we're leading the lives of others, we gotta be honest.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest leadership traits when I think about soft skills, because that's how I teach my leaders, and we go through soft skills. One of the biggest soft skills you got is honesty. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with your fellowship, right? So
You got to be honest.
if your fellowship got crunchy 4F hair, like we done left
It
all
ain't
the
gonna
early,
work. It ain't gonna
And
work.
you are not willing to put in the work, do all the deep conditions, be gentle, take it like 3 strands at a time. Like, you're not willing to do this. But you think that you're going to have the most beautiful,
Hair down
luxurious
to,
puff, and you're going to have hair down to your waist like the people on the
it ain't
local
gonna work.
YouTube.
It ain't gonna work.
I don't care how much rice water you spray in
There's
your
not
hair.
enough.
It's just going to ferment and it's going to stink. Your hair's going to stink.
It's not gonna work
You better
out.
phone a friend. Phone a friend. Get you a real village. Because whoever told you that did not tell you the truth. Get
And
you
you know what?
somebody who's a hairologist.
You know, and honestly, I laugh sometimes because I appreciate the clients who have been with me from like day one. Those are my girls. You know, I love all of my clients. You know, and I tell people, I'm like, all of my clients are like my friends. They basically all are like my besties, right? And I find it funny though, because when I get a new client, it's funny because especially when like my day ones, if they refer a client, I'll say, you know, who referred you? And they might say, oh, you know, Dr. Renita referred you. And they get to start talking about their hair, right? And I'll just I'm thankful for the mask now because it masks my facial expressions, which sometimes I can't hide them. Okay.
Your facial
And so
ministry.
they'll get to talking and I'll be looking at them and I'll be like, and they'll look and they might start laughing and they'll say, it's okay. It's okay. Just tell me what you think because such and such, Dr. Renita already told me that you was going to keep it real. So you can just keep it real with me. And I'm like, did she? They were like, yeah. I'm like,
Great.
so this is what it is, right? Then we can go ahead. We can go ahead and speak the truth now. If they already warned you, I got to ease it in there a little bit. You know, I can't just jump all out there. But as soon as I know that somebody has already told them, all right, Trey Bay, she's going to keep it 100. So just go in there. Don't be offended. She's going to tell you whatever she needs to tell you so that you can achieve the best results.
Right. But being honest is the best way to lead people. I mean, really. And sometimes, I mean, as leaders, we all have to learn how to take our words so they can be palatable. We want to be heard. That's the way we communicate effectively. But
yes,
you still have got to be honest. If baby doll got 4 sprigs of hair, but she wants a crochet, unfortunately, this is not the style we're going to do today. It's just not. Let me be honest with you. The crochet is not your saving grace. Now, we may be able to put a full lace front here. Let's handle that. But the thing is, I would rather my leader of whatever gathering that I'm a part of at the moment, I would rather that leader be completely honest with me. You don't have to be ugly. And I think that sometimes we get keeping it 100 to the point where we are nasty. You don't have to be nasty.
Absolutely. It's not necessary.
But you do have to be honest and don't let the idea of hurting someone's feelings stop you from telling them the truth. Sometimes it's how you put it, but you got to put it out there for real. Because sometimes we get too sugary and then they don't get what you were saying. They walk away.
They lose the hindsight. They're like, oh, okay, so she said I could do this. No. I didn't say that.
Sometimes you gotta give them that apple cider vinegar straight. Just drink
straight up. Just take the shot and be done with
it. It's gonna be disgusting, but just take it and deal with it. But Traona, we are coming up on our time. But I wanted, as we've talked about so many different ways that you lead your amazing gathering. We talked about shining. We talked about, I think that you help dentistry even more now because I'm sure there are many teeth that are out. As my guest a few weeks talked about, she likes Teeth Out Tuesday. Big shout out to IVG. But she does, your teeth out. You're causing their teeth to be out. You're causing them to shine in all these ways. But if you had to leave people today with one thing, either that you have mentioned before or you haven't said yet, would that one thing be?
You're never fully dressed without a smile.
Ooh, I like it.
Just do it for Teeth Out Tuesday.
Yes, okay. And we just had Annie live with the first Black Annie on TV with Taraji as Miss Hannigan. And you never fully dressed without a smile is one of those. We're on a big
yes.
So, but yes, I love it. I love it. Well, I thank you so much. I am so excited for you to have been here. But I know my guests are like, okay, and how can I follow Trey back? How can they find you?
They can find me on IG at shinebeauty.studio. Check out the webpage. It is also www.shinebeauty.studio. And or you can email me at hello@shinebeauty.studio.
Hello. Hello at shinebeauty.studio. Yes. All right. Well, they are going to come find you. And if you are anywhere in the triad area, I'm sure, or the triangle, I mean, it's but so far, and you need an amazing stylist. I don't know how booked she is. I'm sure she's pretty booked, but
But
get on the
but
waiting
I
list.
have 3 new stylists. Yes,
She has
I'm
super
so
stylists.
grateful for anybody who wants to wait for my schedule to open. But if you can't wait, I have some amazing new stylists. They're learning from me, so
Yes.
you can feel confident in their ability as well.
And she is training them up in the way they should go. And I'm sure she's going to be
Amen.
somewhere near, and you will get to meet Trey Bay. But
Yes,
you can have
yes,
a
yes, yes.
stylist of your own ASAP, especially if you have broken 4 columns this week. Go get you somebody professional. Go get you
Get you
somebody
professional.
professional. We all need a professional every now and again. Traona, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. This has been incredible. We're going to lead our gathering in a new way, and we're about to shine bright out in these streets.
Amen.
Okay?
Shine. Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. It was a
You are
pleasure.
so welcome. Thank you. Well, as you all can see, 47. 47 amazing guests. You didn't believe me in week 1, but then you experienced week 1. You like, she may not be lying, but here we are, 47 guests later. And I've done it. She's bad. She's amazing. Hey, what? And guess what? I'll be right back here next week with guest number 48. Now, I told you we're going to have 52 guests before the end of the year. So let just everybody stretch your hands out and pray to the Lord because they all got to show up. Praise God. Hallelujah. But know that I love you oh so dearly. And as every week, I'm going to continue to encourage you to keep your leadership all the way live. I'll see you right back here next Monday at 9 p.m. with another amazing guest. Bye, everybody.